Brant Show. I am Monica Brant, and I am interviewing the beautiful 𝗬𝗬cieះ𝘂𝘂𝗯𝗲. I said it right, correct? Phryger. Oh, so fun. And I can't wait to just kind of dive into a little bit more about your journey. But first of all, I want to talk about being a mom. And, you know, I think we should also just highlight some of the information about being a wife, because wife was first.
Yeah.
And Brandon, I got to meet him years ago throughout different events and shows. And I just remember his big smile as well. I always thought you guys looked so great together because you both had these big, bright, radiant smiles. And he was just always so supportive of what you're doing. And he seemed like a patient guy. And so maybe let's talk first about you being a wife, how many years you guys have been married, and where is he from? And then I would like to just hear a little bit about your journey in this world and having him at your side and how that has looked as a couple.
Yeah. So we've been married since 2004. And so he's pretty much been around this entire journey for me from the very beginning. He was at my very first show. He traveled with me to Virginia for the Body Rock. And every show that I've ever competed in, he has been at. He's been very supportive. He also works out, so he understands. He literally went through it from the very beginning. So he understands every aspect, the diet, the training, how much time goes into it, what's expected of you. And he's always been very, very supportive of my entire fitness journey. He always, would make sure that I had everything in the beginning. When it was all still kind of new, he would help me with my food prep, and he would barbecue and do all those great things. So it was very great. It was just like having a right hand for, in the beginning. After it became very second nature, so it was kind of a lot easier. But in the beginning, it was really great just to have somebody that was right there for you.
And what about his upbringing? Was he brought up with athletics or health and fitness?
He always played sports. He played soccer and he played softball. So he always had a sports background. So he's been athletic his whole life since he was little league. And even to this day, he does play adult softball still 2 times a week. So he tries to stay as active as he can as well. And he works out, 5 days a week in the gym. So he knows that background.
And how did you guys meet?
At work, actually. We met. He came into the office, and I happened to be working covering for the front desk receptionist at the time. And so I met him at his very first interview, and we just hit it off, and we started dating, and then it just all took off from there.
Wow, that's so fun. Okay, and I have to ask, how did he propose?
Oh, he was so cute. So he was decorating for Christmas, and he's putting the Christmas lights up. I was gone for the day, and when I came back, he was on the roof like he had been when I left. But while I was gone, he had went inside the house, and he put roses all over from the front door to our bedroom. And the "Will you marry me" sign was inside the bedroom. So when I walked through the whole house, and then I saw everything, and I turned around, and he had jumped off, the house to come inside quickly. But that's how he proposed.
Oh, yeah.
It's very nice.
That's so thoughtful. I love it. I love it. So it's so great that he was so helpful. Where were you when y'all were married and you wanted to get started with this? Like, where were you physically, and was, you weren't as heavy as you were?
I wasn't as heavy, but there was a time when we first started dating that I was in the transition of starting to lose weight. So we did date for a period of time that I was overweight. And he's never been the kind of person that would care either way, whether I was competing. He doesn't love me more when I'm 105 and stage lean versus 120 or 160. He's never cared. So in the beginning, when we first started dating, there was a period when I was still, getting down to just losing weight and getting to where I wanted to be. And it's always been, it's just me and him. It's not, 𝗬𝗬cie working out, 𝗬𝗬cie the fitness girl, or 𝗬𝗬cie not the fitness girl. It's just always just been me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what does his family feel about you and your lifestyle and your shows and all of that? How do they feel about it?
Yeah, they were so great. In the very beginning, they came to a bunch of my shows as well. They're so supportive. My daughters dance. competitively. They're at every show, but even for me, and I mean, it's just a weird sport. You're standing on stage in a bikini, you know, so most people, like, you don't want parents or in-laws or whatever, but they've always been so super supportive. And then he has an older brother that is always at my shows. You know, when he's in the area, when he can't go to a show, he's always there. His whole family's been so supportive.
I love it. I mean, that's kind of like a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's been awesome. They're really great.
That's really good. That's cool. So, okay, so let's talk about being a mom, and because obviously being a mom, and your daughters are how old right now?
Well, now they're 13 and 15, and they seem like they're gone already. So I feel like they went from 5 to 15 in the blink of an eye. They were these little, you know, my little toddlers, and then all of a sudden you see now they're grown teenagers.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. So I want to just kind of visit about how, you know, because okay, you're on your journey trying to bring yourself to a different level physique wise, and you get pregnant. So how does that feel? And I'm sure that there's so many moms out there that can relate to that. And I mean, okay, let me just throw this out one. This last fall, I met a couple, and the wife came to me and she's like, okay, I want to work with you. I don't want to compete, but I want to look, you know, I want to be leaner. And, you know, she gave me all her goals, and, you know, she just like a kind of a runner girl, you know, she had 3 kids already, all young age, 3 kids, and her husband, you know, and she's, you know, works from home and whatever. So she's got all these, and at the very end of all her goals that she wrote her goals out, she says, oh, and I'm working on getting pregnant for my 4th. And I'm like, oh, those goals don't mix well at all. I'm like, you can't try to get lean and have rock hard abs and like that mindset, and yet you're trying to get pregnant for the 4th time. Like, it just isn't a good fit. You're not, and then she wasn't in her 20s anymore. So I'm like, so lo and behold, she's like, okay, I understand, but, you know, so we worked together for almost a month, and then she messaged me. She goes, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, I was like one of the first people she told outside of her, you know, her husband, of course. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I started working with her husband to take over the program so he could actually, you know, figure some things out too. But anyway, she's had her baby. So I'm laughing. I'm like, when you're ready to come back, let me know. Like, those goals don't match. Okay. So that's kind of where you were though. Like, you're like, goal, lean, training, and so then there's baby.
Yeah, I did 2 or 3 years of competing. So I was 2003 was my first show, and then 2004 we got married. I was competing all those years. 2005 I was still competing. I got pregnant, and I actually had a miscarriage in 2005. And so I thought, you know what, it's not the right time. I'm going to do another show. And so I just jumped right back into that. I did my show, and very quickly after, I would say probably a month after my show, which was in 2005, at the end of 2005, I found out I was pregnant. And it was planned. We had wanted to get pregnant, but we just didn't, you know, we just wanted it to happen naturally. We both love kids, so we absolutely wanted it to happen, but it happened fast after my show. And so by August of 2006, I was having my first little girl. And it was, you know, a great experience for me. But because I had that history of the weight gain, right after I had her, I was pretty determined to not let myself get back to where I was. And I knew that in order to be at my, you know, my absolute best for her, I need to be at my best for myself. I realized right after I had her that if I let myself go, I'm not going to be able to take care of anybody else. So luckily for me, we had an elliptical in our house. So I made sure that I was, you know, I did some cardio. I got my diet was right back on after I had her. I think I competed in February of 2007.
Wow.
So I had her in August, and then in February I competed with Muscle Contest in 2007. But again, it was not anything that I really planned, but I realized I just want to go back to eating healthy after I had her. And I just went back and followed the same principles of competing for shows, just not so restrictive with the calories and foods, and just made it a priority, made myself a priority, because I think I just realized from seeing other people not do that, that you have to do that if you want to be successful with motherhood and being a wife. So that's just how it happened.
You make it sound so easy.
No, it definitely isn't easy, but it's just, you know, once you commit to yourself, you don't want to let yourself, I don't want to ever let myself down the same way I wouldn't want to let, you know, my husband or my daughters down. So you just got to make it a priority.
Okay. So you were competing again, and then obviously your daughters were 13, 15. So there wasn't a whole lot of time, and you got pregnant again.
Yes, I did. So I did that another show. We enjoyed my first daughter. We enjoyed it as much as possible. We did everything, but we did know that we wanted to have them, you know, close together. So we tried again. And we had my second daughter in August. So they're exactly 2 years apart, 2 years and 3 days. So she was August 2008. And so now we have two toddlers. And it was pretty much there they are. And I still to this day, I wish I tried for a boy. And my youngest daughter still thinks, Mom, you're young enough. You should just go and try again. And we're well past that now. but yeah, it's having those girls was everything. And I think especially when you have toddler girls and you're trying to remember how important it is, you see with toddlers especially that they see everything that you do, and especially when it's a mom and a daughter, they emulate everything that you do and they want to be everything that you are. So I think when I started to do shows again, I thought this is the best time for me to stay active and stay goal driven and goal oriented and make sure that I'm doing all the things that I would hope they would see and want to do themselves, you know, make goals and accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. And for so long, I thought I couldn't be on stage or it wasn't something for me. Didn't want them to ever think you can't do something. So I think when they were young, that was like that was why I just wanted to keep trying.
You know, one of the things I guess would love to hear your take on is there's so many moms that I've talked to over the years that are like, well, I mean, there's obviously a lot of moms like you that have done it, gone there and done, you know, great job. But there's so many also that just are like, it's just all about my kids and I can't take time for myself because the kids come first. And it's like they just allow themselves to get lost behind the children, and just be almost like a tag along and a chauffeur, as opposed to like leading the way and showing something really, you know, wonderful, and having and making sure they have that, you like you did, is okay, your children obviously and your husband have come first, but you have still stayed true to your own self.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know, how have you done that? What is your, or what can you say? Maybe, I mean, I'm not ever going to be a mom, so, but what could you say to maybe someone that's listening now that is in that younger stage of life? Like what advice would you give them in that kind of frame of mind?
I just think for me, the most important thing was I knew that I always wanted to be on stage. I always wanted to compete, whether it was figure or fitness. I ended up doing my first fitness competition with a routine 3 years ago for the very first time. But that was like one of my lifelong, like after seeing you do fitness, I'm like, that's what I just want to do it once. So there's always these things. For me, there was always things that I really wanted to accomplish. And even going back to like when I first had my daughters, I knew that I wanted to get back in shape and I wanted to be healthy again. I didn't want to just let myself go because that isn't good for me or them. Mm-hmm. So for me, obviously, if you compete, you know, it takes up a lot of time. It takes up time away from your family and your friends and life. But for me, in order to work out, I get up super early. So when they were younger, and I mean, now they're very much more independent, but in the beginning, I would get up extra early so that I could do my cardio and training before anyone else in the house was awake.
Like what time would that be?
I get up probably between 3:45 and 4 o'clock.
And what time would you go to bed?
I go to bed by 10. I'm trying to be in bed by 10.
So even back then, it was like by 10 and then 3:30, 4 o'clock.
I'm not a big sleeper. But that was one of the things, though. I knew I wanted to do a show, but I didn't want it to take away from my family, from my girls or my husband. So it was, if I'm going to train for a show, I'm going to do it when it's a time it's not going to affect them, so that I still had time to go to all their school events. And I was still a room mom for their classes when they were in elementary school. And I could still, you know, be home in time for dinner or be at home in time to take them to dance watch their dance classes. You know, I made it a priority to never let what I wanted to do for myself interfere with their schedule or take away from them. And for me, I think that's the biggest thing, because it's possible. It's very possible for you to take care of yourself and them. You just have to prioritize and schedule it, you know, the way that it'll best fit everyone. But it's very possible to do both things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true dedication for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And what about Brandon? How did he fit in with that kind of schedule? Because obviously there's not a lot of hours left.
No. So yeah, so for him, it was always really great, because if there was ever a time that something came in the way or I couldn't be somewhere, I never had to worry, because he's so hands-on. He's never missed a dance class. He's never missed a dance competition. He's literally at every single event that they have. So we're both always there. So there was never a time that either of us missed anything. So that's a huge help for, for someone if you're in a busy schedule. It's great to have that support.
Does he still do some of the cooking and grilling?
No, he doesn't cook at all. He's over it. He knows that I can pretty much do that. Like, it's just over and done with. He's just like, that's all for you.
So you're the one that keeping the house fed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's such a fast food guy. He would be out getting fast food or sushi every other night if he could. Absolutely.
My husband's similar. He likes to go eat. And I realize that his love language is quality time. And if we come home from a busy day or we're both been gone or whatever, he doesn't want me in the kitchen cooking.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want me to and then he doesn't want me to be having to clean up anything. Like, he wants to just sit and talk and enjoy relaxing, and then be able to, clean up, go to bed kind of thing. Like, I don't know if it's just, is he jealous of the kitchen? Not a person, but the kitchen.
Yeah. Too much time there.
Yeah. He's like, can you leave the dishes alone tonight? I'm like, I want things to be clean. So the next day I wake up and it's clean kitchen. And so it's a little struggle here with dinners around here. Not that, not a big deal, but the going out, it's funny. So that's awesome to hear that. And then if you don't mind me asking this, because it's probably a good thing for people to hear, how do you continue to be the wife your husband needs, and your husband be the husband that you need? Aside from fitness and aside from children, do y'all have date nights? Do you make separate time to go spend with just one another and really be able to connect and not have, distractions? Because I know, having kids around, there's very little alone time.
Yeah. When they were younger, we always made sure that we would have date nights, and his mom never had a daughter. She had two sons. So she loved the fact that she had two granddaughters around. So his mom is in our lives, but she was here every weekend. She would visit the girls. And so we were guaranteed, when they were younger, we had a babysitter if we ever wanted to go anywhere. So when we were younger, we used to have date nights, once or twice a month, we would have a scheduled date night. She was, anytime really that we wanted her to come over, she was all for it. So when they were younger, it was very easy to make that a priority. Now that they're older, to be honest, they're 13 and 15, and my 15-year-old especially, because she has some friends that are 16 and they're driving now. They're in high school. They're always at parties. So me and him have, the past year especially, we've had more time together, just us two, probably than we have, in the past 10. But it's because they're so busy now, and they dance a lot. So they are at rehearsals, every night. And so we actually get a lot more quality time together now, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So let's visit a little bit about the dance. Now, did you take dance when you were younger?
My mom had me and my sister in ballet when we were little, but it's not anywhere near to the level that my girls are at. Okay. They are competitive dancers. They're on a company team. They dance Monday through Saturday. So Sunday is the only day that they're not dancing. They have rehearsals every night. And then, like I said, right now it's competition season. So there's usually 2 weekends out of the month that they're competing. They dance all styles of dance. But I like to think that part of the same thing with the competing, I always tell them, when they have if you're going to choose to do all these classes, there's no pulling out of a class, there's no quitting. This is something, and they're so driven. And I would pray that it's maybe a little bit of seeing what I did when they were little, but innate in them. I think they are so driven and they work so incredibly hard at their craft. And it shows. I mean, they've gotten so much better year after year, and it's been so exciting just to watch them.
Wow. So I think we have a fun video of one of your girls. Is it the older girl, maybe?
This is the younger one, Vanessa.
The younger one. How? Okay,
one of her very first solos.
Okay, so how old is she, and where was this?
So this is in Burbank, California, and this was probably 4 years ago. No, let me see. Let's see, she's 13. So this was probably 7 years ago. This is one of her very first solos. And you know the great thing, it's like full circle. Her costume was made by a very popular fitness competition suit maker. I recruited her. She used to make suits for us. And I recruited her and said, is there any way you can make a competition dance costume for my daughter? And at the time, I just thought all she did was competition suits, you know, bikinis and whatnot. But she was like, oh, that's where I started. I used to do musicals and blah, blah. So it was kind of cool because it was like we got to tie in my sport with their sport. And she got this perfectly made costume for her routine. But yeah, this is one of her very first solos, and she did so amazing this year right out the gate, and it was very exciting to watch.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were saying this in the beginning with the music. Where in California is this?
In Burbank. It was at the Hollywood Connection dance competition in Burbank.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did it end up for her?
She did great. She always placed with the top category for her age group always.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm just so impressed. Like,
I know.
And it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't appear that she's missed anything.
No.
I mean,
it's so good. Yeah.
You know, because you can sometimes, you know, just kind of when you know, dance a little bit, you could see something. I mean, if she's missed something, she just flew into something else and they're seamless.
Absolutely. There's a couple times, one routine, like she came off and she was like, oh my gosh, did you see? I completely forgot blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I didn't even see. She's like, well, I had to just improv after because I didn't know where I was. But that's how you would have never known. She never drops a smile. She's just right there the whole time.
I love it. The little car and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun. Wow. Okay, so do they your girls, do they dance on the same team? They're
on the same team, but since they're different ages. So my 15-year-old is on what they call the select team, which is the girls a little bit more experienced. And then my younger is on the core team. So she'll probably in the next year or two switch because of her age and how long she's been dancing now. But it's the same studio, just different levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then do they get along as well as they look like they get along?
They get along really good. They're at that age now where they don't want to share clothes and makeup and whatnot, but for the most part, they get along really well.
I mean, there's always that little bit of timing as you're going through your teenagers. You're kind of like trying to figure out who you are anyways. So, I mean, that's totally normal. But I can't, just not that I want to speed up time, but just imagining them in their late 20s, early 30s, like how close they're going to be, how much they're going to be so thankful they have one another and, to be able to experience so much together.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. So what are your favorite things to do with your girls?
Well, I went to school for fashion design. I had a degree in fashion design and merchandise marketing. And my youngest came out of the womb drawing. She is so into fashion as well, but it's just natural for her. She will pick up a piece of fabric and get a needle and thread, and she will grab an old skirt and make her own little pattern. And this is just from watching, from years of watching me sew or whatever. She literally can just pick it up. So definitely like to do anything that's with fashion, drawing, sketching. And then my oldest has decided that she wants to go to school for fashion as well. So it's kind of turned into, all three of us. So she just asked for a new sewing machine. She wanted a sewing machine for Christmas from Santa. So I'm like, okay, well, we can make this, a big thing. So I probably would say that's for sure. And then we're crazy Disney fanatics. So going to Disneyland, we've been doing that since they were 2 and 4. And so that's probably the second thing, like just going to amusement parks, but Disney for sure.
Oh my goodness. Who are their favorite princesses?
When they were little, probably Rapunzel was Vanessa's favorite, and Alyssa liked Jasmine. But when they were little, they liked them all. You know, we would stand in line for an hour just to meet somebody dressed up like a princess. So yeah, now they're finally getting into like fast rides, and they want to go on the roller coasters. Whereas before, and I mean, not that long ago, they were like, they didn't want to go on a roller coaster at all. And now it's like one of their favorite things to do when they get there.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. Okay. Well, we are going to take another quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I want to talk to you about you and your, how you've stayed in this place for so long, tips and tricks for other people to learn from you. And so we'll go take a really quick break, and we'll be right back with more from 𝗬𝗬cie.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our 3rd year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.